Hey folks, it's Amar Sheth at Sales for Life, and I want to welcome you to another edition of The Social Success Factor. And today, my guest is Jeff Zelaya. Jeff, how's it going?
It's going great. Having a fantastic day. Thanks, Amar.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, I'm so glad you're here. And for the audience, Jeff is a consummate business development professional. I'm super excited. In fact, Jeff and I have been playing tag for the last almost 4, 5, 6 months now, trying to get Jeff on this show because I think it's a critical message Jeff has to deliver. And Jeff has done quite a bit of work on social media. So, Jeff, super happy that you can join us. Before we kind of kickstart and go into your story, tell the audience a little bit about you and what you're doing right now and why that's so exciting.
Sure. So I'm the head of sales for a startup, Xillia. We're about a year and a half old, working with some really awesome folks. The founders of the company were former Eloqua execs, and they have just a deep knowledge of marketing, content, and I get a chance to work directly with them and build this awesome product that is helping a lot of our customers out and evangelizing it and selling stories and really helping people get results with their content and improving their marketing and sales. So couldn't be happier. And it's my first startup. So a lot of work. First couple of weeks I was pulling my hair out. But I'm really loving the experience and learning so much. And it was meant for me and meant to be. So really happy at Tribulio.
That's awesome. So, Jeff, what is your take on social selling? What is it? And why should salespeople be using it?
Sure. So to answer the question of why should salespeople be using social selling or social media in their sales process, it's because the buyers are. The people that we're selling to are now using social media extensively in their buying process. And if we're not out there, if we're not visible through social media, they're going to go and buy from the person that is. So number one, because your buyers are using it, guess what? As a salesperson, so should you. And then what is social selling? For me, it's always been about establishing, like having a brand, being visible on social media because you're providing value, you're actively helping people and really becoming a thought leader in your industry. So much so that people are coming to you and asking for help and they're following you. And when the right opportunity comes up, they're thinking of you. And that's what I want. I want to be top of mind for those individuals that are in the market, that are looking for solutions to challenges that I could solve. And that's what social selling really has been for me, using all the social platforms out there to build that brand and to become that person that folks think of when it comes to content and content marketing or social selling even, right?
Yeah, totally. You said two things that really got me going there. The first is the personal brand, right? I think it's so critically important. In fact, the Forrester Sales Enablement Summit just happened. So we're kind of in early March right now recording this. And there was a keynote or a discussion at the Forrester Summit about one of their analysts who made a very, very bold and controversial prediction, which is a million sales jobs. Let me clarify, a million B2B sales jobs will disappear by the year 2020. So if you are a salesperson, and Google this, you can check out the report. I might even just include the link for you here below. But as you kind of absorb that stat, a lot of those jobs disappearing are going to be traditional jobs that most of us are kind of in, right? So what buyers are looking for today, and this kind of is the second point, Jeff, that I thought of as you were speaking, is a study that LinkedIn did. So in September of 2014, LinkedIn released a survey of results that asked 1,500 B2B buyers, what are the main qualities or the attributes you look for in your sales professional? And sure enough, thought leadership is number one. And it just shows you, right, that buyers choose to work with experts, not salespeople. They want to be aligned and associated with people that know their stuff, that specialty, that expertise, that subject matter expertise, etc. So I couldn't agree with you more. Jeff, how long have you been social selling? I guess that's the next natural question for you.
Right. So I don't know if you ever heard the Batman line when Bane talks about, Batman, you'll know about the darkness. You just kind of adapted it and took it as your own. And Bane's like, look, I grew up in it. I embrace the darkness. I am the darkness. And that's really, for me, what social selling is about. A lot of folks have adopted it because they needed to in order to survive in their sales career. For
Yeah.
me, I've been doing social selling since I left college. That's all I know. Cold calling was something that you resorted to when social selling, your endeavors, your initiatives really weren't working. But for me, that's all I know. I mean, using social media, using LinkedIn, reaching out via different social networks to engage people. That's what how I grew up in sales, and it's worked out for me so far. And I've been doing it now since I would say close to like 6 years. Just using social media as a way of helping people, as a way of being relevant and providing value to others. And it's transitioned, of course, more focused on engaging the right people that are in my target market, but still using a lot of the same tactics that I grew up
Yeah.
using.
So two comments again. Number one, man, it would have been awesome if you showed up with your Bane mask for this interview. Just would have been in stitches for that. And secondly, I can attest to the audience listening, I can attest to exactly what Jeff is saying, because Jeff and I have never met in person, right? We will one day, I'm sure, when I go to DC and he buys me a couple of drinks. But Jeff and I have never met. In fact, he's doing exactly what he's talking about, which is he reached out to me, we got connected, he shared his insights, his value. He just offered to help, really. That's all he did. He just offered to help. He extended his courtesy, he extended his time. He invested the only resource that matters today, which is your time. So, Jeff, I commend you for that. So, Jeff, you're at Xillia right now, but once upon a time, as you've been social selling, you were a rep, right? You were a great rep, but you were a rep. When you were a rep, what percentage of your pipeline or revenue would you say came from social media?
Right. And even now, I'm still a rep, right? Even though I'm
True.
heading up and leading the sales department, I'm still actively selling, actively going out and building relationships. And even to this day, I could show you my board. Most of my deals are coming from LinkedIn prospecting. Most of
Wow.
the appointments that we're setting, the demos that we're scheduling on our calendar are because we've initially built that relationship, started that dialogue through LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which has been an awesome tool to use and highly recommended if you're in business development to use it. It took me a while to get the hang of it, but once you get into that groove with
Yeah.
LinkedIn Sales Navigator, it just keeps rolling in. So I would say, and then going back to my previous career working at Vocus, I would say half of my deals, half of the revenue that I brought in was I have to attribute that success to social selling.
Whoa,
Because
hold on. Slow down.
Yes, 50%.
50% of your
50%.
revenue came from social media.
Yes, and not just that the initial contact was begun through social media, but also as you nurture that relationship. That's really what helped separate me from the average reps, is that I found creative ways to use social media to nurture relationships that others, right, if you weren't buying now, they would hang up and never call you back. And I saw that as you're missing an opportunity to nurture that relationship, to use social media as a way to efficiently stay top of mind. So when that person is ready to buy, guess what? They're not starting that whole process over again. They're remembering me, coming back to me, and buying from me. So that was what helped separate. And that's credit. I give credit to those deals to social selling because it helped me win that business.
Yeah, it's a great point. So here's the $64,000 question. Why aren't more reps using social selling techniques today?
Yeah, well, I think number one of the studies that I saw is that many companies aren't offering social selling training. So a lot of people that I talk to, and you see that, Sales for Life, you guys are doing an amazing job of offering that training and having like real programs, rigorous programs, and you guys know what you're talking about and have proven success in the track record. And I recommend, like, if you don't have the proper tools, training is got to be the top of your list of what things you should be investing in if you want to become a better social selling company. So I think number one, companies or people aren't doing it because the company's not providing the training that they need to be successful at it, right? They're just taking guesses or maybe following one of us on Twitter and writing tips of what they could be doing, but they don't have a formalized plan of action that will help them become a real social seller.
It's amazing to me, Jeff, and just as a side note, and obviously I'm biased towards this, but it's amazing to me how so many companies, and I'm talking about world-class global footprint organizations, have tasked the teaching of social selling to a core group of salespeople when that's not their job. And number two, they're building curriculum, quote unquote, in a silo without having any exposure to best practices. So, anyways, that's for a different discussion, and I want to loop
Yeah.
you in on that later. So, Jeff, I want to appreciate your time on coming to this show. I wanted the audience to get a flavor of what's possible. You know, Jeff is one of the most professional business people I know. He knows his craft extremely well. And I hope you listening to this are motivated and inspired to start and dabble and advance your social selling agenda, because guys like Jeff are proof that you can make a lot of money and you can help a lot of customers in the process, and that the two are not different, that they're in fact the same goal. So, Jeff, what are your parting words for the audience, for salespeople?
Earlier you talked about the prediction that Forrester made that all these jobs are going to be, disappearing. And I think that that's going to happen because what we're going through now is evolution, right? And evolution, there's some things that just don't survive, don't make it, right? The ones that aren't able to adapt, they die. So right now, you're listening to this, you have that choice to make. Will I adapt to this changing environment of how a buyer is making decisions and become more social selling savvy? Or will I be one of those jobs that disappears? You have that choice right now to make. And if your company isn't providing you the training, guess what? It's up to you as an individual, as a producer, as a top producer, having that mentality to invest in yourself and follow guys like Amar and Jamie Shanks and other thought leaders like Joe Raleigh, and learn and take it upon yourself to become more educated and give yourself the proper tools to be successful as a social seller if you want to survive. Now, if you want to die, just keep cold calling, keep doing the traditional things that you've always been doing. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And if you're not closing deals right now and you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to go crazy.
That's awesome. Your $50 check is in the mail, buddy. That's those are some great props over there. Thank you. So, Jeff, I won't keep you. Thanks again for your time. I want to have you back on the show later in the year. Just do a check-in, see how you're doing, see how Triblio has grown, and my continued best wishes to you and the team at Triblio, Jason and everyone there. So thanks again, folks. This is Amar Sheth and Jeff Zelaya signing out. Happy social selling. Take care.